Well, let's jump into it. How's everyone's day going so far? Staying busy, getting things done?
Yeah.
Sarah, you're in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
How's y'all's weather right now this time?
Snow.
Snow. Good. Okay, perfect.
Snow.
Awesome. I'm from Michigan. My mom just said they got dumped on this last weekend, and I'm like, well, that's why I left. So
Yeah, I'm ready for spring.
yeah, it's next week technically, right? Or like tomorrow or something.
Today.
Today.
That doesn't. Today.
Oh, I'm like it's coming up, but we'll see.
That doesn't count for me.
Spring in the Midwest is like May.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
April and May. Yeah. Beautiful. Let's do a quick recap, but any questions from the first training? I know it was mostly just like
No.
mission statement stuff. Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so let's jump into today. We're going to try to get through this section, week training 1 and week training 2. I don't think it'll take too long, and then we'll go through 3 and 4 tomorrow, and then we'll get you in the accounts with Sarah and some of our other DMers and get into learning, doing the process. Okay. So alrighty, what we're going to do to start out the accounts, and this is good for Sarah H, Sarah with an H, lead Sarah. We are primarily going to get Sarah trained in ads, free group, probably the WhatsApp chat. But I would want to start in some of those accounts just to get her comfortable with the script, the process, things like that. But definitely free group and ads to start for sure. Sarah, essentially how this is going to work is we will get you to shadow some shifts. So we'll talk about that, once we get those scheduled, what your schedule looks like. We'll get you to shadow some of the other DMers, kind of see the process and just absorb, learn, absorb, wash, rinse, repeat is essentially the cycle there. We will set up a role play for next week, and then you'll have training with our DM staff.
Okay.
Perfect. We ideally would like to get you to shadow 3 shifts, at least 3 to start out. That way you can see a couple different accounts, maybe shadow free group, shadow IG, shadow like VSL and WhatsApp, so that we have a couple different accounts to learn from, because they're all going to move a little bit differently. So lead Sarah, you and I will decide who, what, where, when, why together. Awesome. You will have this, I'll send this over to you, but we do want you to watch a couple testimonial videos of our students. It's just going to kind of give you a client perspective about the team. So you'll be able to click on that link, and there's literally like a bajillion, and they're anywhere between like 1 to 4 minutes. They're not very long. They're just quick testimonial videos, but you can go through and watch, I'd say maybe 3 of these. That way you can just get a little perspective from our team, what they've experienced with our program. And we just like to maintain conviction, essentially, just reminding us what we do and why we do it. Awesome. And then a mindset coaching call. So we would love for you to be able to watch this mindset coaching call. It's a quick 29-minute call, but this is essentially Lacey. Is that Kevin? Why is it Kevin? All right, Kevin, fine. Let me make sure this link is good, because we wanted a mindset coaching call, not just a normal one-on-one call, but we'll have you do both anyway. So we'll have you watch a mindset call with Lacey and then a client one-on-one call. So you just kind of know the experience that the clients have and understand how we do what we do in the program.
Okay.
Beautiful. I'm going to drop this in here too, but the prospective client education, this is essentially our focus for certified coach and master coach. Realistically, the certified coaching client, that person that comes in and joins that program is a newer coach, an aspiring coach. They probably don't have a lot of experience, or they've been in person, like at a gym for a long time, looking to go into the online space. So usually our certified coaching client, this is our biggest client demographic. They're new, they're green, they have usually nothing in place when it comes to virtual coaching, and they're starting from scratch. The goal for us would be to allow our students to make that transition online, gain the back-end knowledge to be able to grow their business outside of friends and family, so finding clients outside of their market. And these coaches are typically certified, but don't understand the business. But then some still need a certification, which we provide as well. We are NASM ACE accredited. The pain that our clients are going through is they're feeling stuck in person or online in the starting points. They want to be successful, but they don't have the necessary tools or knowledge on where to begin. So that's kind of our ideal client niche. So that's what you're going to see in the DMs. Are people like, I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I haven't done anything. This is, I'm fresh. Biggest fear is going to be failure, not being able to get their business off the ground, potential clients not trusting them since they're new, and getting stuck with no growth or advancement. So a very common objection you're going to see is fear and usually finances. Fear and finances. I'm afraid I'm not going to be successful. I don't know how to do this. I'm terrified, shaking in their boots. And then finances, because typically they're newer. So there's usually not a lot of income coming in some of the time. So common objections, again, money, the fear more so of spending money. The fear of spending money on a program and not being successful, not having money due to not having revenue with their clients. Usually our certified coaching student is a little bit younger in age, early to mid 20s, early 30s, I would say is very common. So experience is a challenge as well. And then spouse here and there, more so self-doubt. So with certified coach, our biggest objections are fear and finances.
Yeah.
They're just afraid. And, if they're new, there's not a lot of revenue coming in. Now, our master coach, so we have 2 different course curriculums. I know we touched on that. Our master coach is our advanced coach. This person is usually doing very well in their business, at least $10,000 a month plus, which is around a 40 client roster. Their goal is to scale their business. Challenge with the master coaches is they're working a lot. They are the salesperson, the marketing person, they're the coach, they're doing everything in their business. And so they are probably working 12 hours a day and they're tired of it. So our master coach is somebody who wants to scale, build, hire, and grow. The pain is not knowing how to delegate, not knowing how to stop doing all the tasks, or not being comfortable with it. Many people want to hire and don't know how, or are just having a hard time relinquishing that control in their business for sure. But their biggest fear is being stuck at the same point in their business, being unable to scale forward. So you will have conversations with both of these individuals. You will see these avatars. The majority will be certified coach. We do have a good chunk of people who we have messages with who are very qualified for master coach. Common objection is more so time. Typically, they have the money's coming in, they're doing well with their business, but they're working a ton and they're struggling with adding more to their plate. So that's usually the biggest objection we have is how can we organize or restructure that time? Usually they need to talk to a business partner or their accountant because they are a little bit more financially well off. And they just really need to see what their next step is and make sure that NLCA provides a solution to the problems they're having. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So certified coach are our newbies, master coach, killing it. They're already successful online. They just need to scale. They need to delegate. They need to get out of that. I work 100 million hours a day. 5.
Okay.
Beautiful. Perfect. Any questions there?
No.
Perfect. All right. So starting out, we're going to go through the social media tracker, ideal clients. Oop, we got a chat. Okay, perfect. You're good, Sarah. Go through kind of normal end of day procedures, how to handle objections, social media checklist. So we're just going to kind of go over the basics here. Social media tracker. Sarah, I'm waiting for you, girl. You left at the most scary time to me. So social media tracker is a board where we kind of will track like follow-ups and things like that. Usually we communicate these well in the chats. So I'm going to be honest, they don't get used as well as they should. But essentially the social media tracker is where you'll come in and update what you were able to do for the day. Now, obviously this is clear because it's Monday. It's a brand new day. We haven't updated anything yet because no one's ended their shifts just yet. So let's say Sunday. Okay, perfect. So we had in NLCA Instagram yesterday, we got 131 follow-ups done and 89 new messages sent. So today is Monday. What's going to happen is, let's say Sarah is working in NLCA and she gets to the end of her shift and she says, I was able to do 65 follow-ups and 30 new messages. The next person in that shift is going to keep track of that number. We can't do 500 follow-ups a day. Our accounts will get shut down. They will shut us down, too much activity. So what you're going to want to do is see what happened on the shift prior. So when you first start your shift, I would say pop over to the social media tracker, see whatever account you're in and what happened on that shift prior.
Okay.
Am I explaining that well, Sarah, so far?
Yeah. And a lot of us, most of us use the notes app in your phone, and like we'll put the date, what account you're in, and then follow up new messages, and we just write the number from the tracker. So we only have to look at the tracker once. And then we know what we're starting with. And then we just do tally marks of how many people we message.
Okay.
It's much easier than going back and forth between a bunch of different apps.
Yeah.
We also, Alyssa's a good one. She has a whole bunch of folders in her notes section. And so she'll put, these are the follow-up messages that I can pick from. These are the different scripts that I can pick from. So that way she's not looking in the different SOPs that we have. So you'll find a rhythm and you'll have different things in your notes app where you can just copy and paste, which will make it a lot easier. But that's what we do for the follow-ups and the new messages, because we have to keep it, I think for Chad's, we keep it around 140 for follow-ups. And for NLCA, we keep it around 160. Because if we continue to go over that, then we start getting the swirlies, which means that things aren't going to work. And then we get where we can't do follow-ups. It'll stop us from going backwards. So we tread lightly on those days.
Okay.
Sarah H., how do you feel with the, how much can you do new in each account on average?
New, we normally do in Chad's. It really depends on the day, but a lot of times we hit about 115 probably new if we can get that high. And for NLCA, we've gotten to 130 new. That was a really good day, but most of the time we're around, 100, 115 in both accounts for new.
Okay, let's keep it there just so that way. But that way you can kind of see if the person before you has done like 150 follow-ups, probably would tread lightly and maybe not do a ton of follow-ups. You'll know like, okay, I'm probably gonna be able to go back to 10 people maybe. But it's just going to give you an idea of where we're at activity-wise in each of the accounts, so you know what you can do. So you can see whoever, is or was in Chad's this morning, they did 38 follow-ups, sent 27 new messages. So the next person would, when they start their shift, pop over to the social media board, see where we're at for activity, and then you know what you're able to work with. So from here, it's very unlikely you're going to get to 100 follow-ups, but 100 more, but you could jump in. You'll know what you're able to do as far as activity volume.
Okay.
And then you can kind of just whatever board you're on, you'll be able to update that. Some of the boards are a little bit smaller, so they don't get used as often. Like LinkedIn is not something that we super commonly use, but we are building those accounts back up. Your biggest ones are going to probably be like all the Facebooks and Instagrams.
Okay.
For sure. Any questions on that?
No.
So essentially start your shift, pop over to the social media tracker, see what's going on, and then you know what you're working with for the start of your shift.
Okay.
Beautiful. Ideal client. This is a big one too. We don't want to have, people who are not in the health and fitness industry getting on calls. So this is a great kind of reference point to kind of know red flags is someone who's absolutely not a good fit for our program. Yellow flags are someone who could go either way. And then green flags are someone who's like, absolutely, this is a great fit. Let's definitely try to get this person on a call. So
Okay.
Red flags to look for: if someone is an MLM and they don't want to work for themselves. So we don't work with, multi-level marketing. It's not their own business. You can't really tell them how to change their products and change their plans and, grow that way. So there's not a lot we could do for that. So anyone who sells like Isagenix, Beachbody, Herbalife, things like that, we can't really support unless they do that and also want to be an independent health and fitness coach. So if they sell products and they coach and they offer services on their own, that's fine. But if they only want to grow their MLM, it's not going to be a good fit. So.
And a lot of times you can figure that out by one of the questions that we ask is, what goals do you have? And if they're like, well, I just want to grow my Herbalife business. You're like, well, okay. Do you want to become certified and do fitness and nutrition on the side and include those things, or you just want to stay one? So we always try to ask a clarifying question, because like this week, Herbalife is all over the boards. So they're there. You can't just count them out. You have to actually, a lot of times they want to get out of that, but they don't know how, because that's what they've been in.
Okay.
So as long as they want to also offer like personal training services and coaching in addition to that, that's fine. Or get out of that to do that, that's all good. But if they only want to stay in their MLM, not a good fit. If someone is like absolutely straight off broke, now this does not mean they've asked the price. Everyone's going to ask the price. Most people ask the price. This does not mean that they cannot, or I'm unsure about finances. Those are all fine. But if someone has, I don't have a single penny to spare, there isn't a moment, I'm homeless. We have seen that. I've gotten on calls with people who are homeless, right? That probably should have been booked, who are unemployed and have been for a long period of time. People who are fresh out of prison. That's something too. We see that a lot. Like we just had a guy, he was fresh out of prison. He's in prison for 8 years. He doesn't have a job yet. He's still kind of building up. Not to say that that person isn't going to be a great coach, but they can't afford a $9,000 program. That is for sure.
Right.
So just making sure that we have those financial flags up, the financial feelers, if you will. Yep. Someone who does not want to be a coach. That sounds silly, but we will have people that say they're a life coach, or they're a spiritual coach, or they're, I don't know, they're a relationship coach. If they're not specifically in the training and nutrition side of things, that's a gray area. So we don't really help with outside of the health and fitness realm, if that makes sense. So health coach, fitness coach, cool, beautiful. Relationship coach, life coach can be a little gray unless they offer nutrition and training services in addition to that. But we want them to be in the health and fitness field for sure.
Okay.
Those who have another business coach currently, they are off limits until they say they don't want to be with that coach anymore, or if their contract is close to being up and they're ready to look for the next person. Reason for that is we are not going to poach people. We are not going to create a negative name for ourselves. And we're also not going to speak ill on any other coaching companies. So if someone said, I just started working with a business coach, I have 6 more months with that program, we'll probably give them some resources. We'll probably try to carry on that conversation and build some rapport, but we are not going to try to book them for a call until they say, I don't like my business coach. I need someone else, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Cool. Someone who's just like straight up disinterested and make it obvious that they do not want us talking to them. Sarah can probably dive into that a little bit more, but there are going to be times where people are like, I'm not a coach. I don't want to be a coach. Why are you talking to me? Discontinue, disengage.
Yeah, you'll get the people who are like, how did you get my number? How did you figure out my name? Your name is on your profile. You commented and liked our story or our ad. We're just reaching out. And then you just don't ask a question. So you still engage. We don't leave anybody, unread. So if they respond back, even we've had people who continue to respond. Okay, but how'd you get my name? Okay, but why do you think I want to be a business or a fitness coach? And it's like, okay, have a great day. But why? No. Yeah. Have a great day.
So just keep in mind, if they're like obviously very uninterested, we don't like ghost them or leave them hanging, but we're probably not going to try to push that conversation. And then countries where the conversion just doesn't make sense. Unfortunately, we do get, unfortunately, but fortunately our ads go worldwide, which is great because we have a lot of great clients in the UK and we have a lot of great clients in like Spain, places like that. But there are certain countries where the conversion is so bad that it will never make sense financially. One Sarah little, chat with you about is we've had a couple of people from like Ghana recently, 4 people on Jeremy's roster who are from Ghana. And it's hard to find that in the conversation, but they make like $500 a month and that's good living to them. That is not going to make sense from a financial perspective in the US. Another one is like certain places in India, and India is hit or miss because there's a lot of very wealthy places in India and there's a lot of very not, where the conversion to the rupee is like, it's going to cost them 15 million rupees to start with our program. And that's what they'll make in their entire life, basically. So there's certain scenarios where it's just not going to make sense, but we have lots of free resources. We will still provide value. We'll still try to give them a good experience. There's just sometimes where it's just not going to make sense.
Okay.
And you can kind of see examples of here. So I would just like go in and look, and check out some of the examples. Any red flags in the type of conversation too, like you can see this person, hey, thanks for, clicking whatever, click the button below to do this, hi, I don't feel good today. My mom care about me because I can and nothing. Like that's, I don't know what's happening. That's usually a red flag for not a good conversation. Yellow flags. So these are people who are kind of 50-50, but we're probably going to book them anyways because we don't truly know. And we've had a lot of conversations like this. We're in the DMs. They're very dry. They're very like meh. We're not really sure, but they're great on the call and vice versa. Okay. So their profile doesn't like scream, I'm a health and fitness coach, I love health and fitness, but they say they want to be one. They're probably aspiring at that point. They're probably nervous or have asked about the money, but they don't say they can't afford it, right? They're not saying they're broke. They're not saying anything is a major, no-go, but they are hesitant. There's some apprehension there. If they are unsure that they want to be a health coach or not, but have some interest, this one is like a very 50-50 one. We want to make sure they have goals to be a health and fitness coach. Aspiring is fine. But if they say, I just started thinking about this the moment you messaged me, they don't have any goals. They hadn't thought about this until literally 14 seconds ago. So we probably need to dig a little bit deeper and make sure we ask some better qualifying questions. They are out of the country, but they speak English. We do have people around the world who come into our ads who speak no English. And unfortunately, we don't have international options yet for clients. So if they are outside of the US, but they speak English, cool, that's fine. They're in an MLM, but they have interest in being an online coach. And then countries where the conversion makes sense. Maybe it's a little bit tight, but it makes some sense. An example of that might be like the UK, right? It's not terrible there. They're going to save money in the UK, but maybe their cost of living is higher or something like that. So it's going to make sense. They could make it work, but it might be a little bit tight, in some capacity. So you can go through, read the conversations here as examples, and then you'll get to kind of know that as you go. You'll feel it out and get that comfortability there. But overall, that's what we would view as kind of like a maybe. And then green flags. They are a fitness coach. They're in the online space, or they've been a personal trainer in person for a long time and they want to be online. They're ready to go. Challenges are typically sales, marketing, getting more clients, lead generation. Usually they have very like health and fitness specific pages. They're posting workouts, they're posting in the gym, they've got clients. They're not in an MLM. The conversation flows really well. It's a very casual, comfortable conversation. There's no red flags about income. They've had business coaches in the past. They've invested before. They know what it's like. Someone who's committed and definitely wants to do this, but maybe is scared, right? Like, I definitely want to grow. Everyone's going to be nervous to some degree, 100%, starting a business. These are probably the best fits. We definitely want to make sure we have a good, consistent conversation here. Literally, in their first message, they say like, how could you help me? What do you do? What do you offer? And then they're US, Canada, UK. Beautiful. Cool. And then some examples. But any questions on that? Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, cool. And you can always come back to this if you're not sure. Biggest red flags are just going to be people who are not interested in being a coach, or who are in an MLM, or who are flat broke for whatever reason.
Right.
Yellow flags, 50-50, green flags, health and fitness all the way. They want to start a business. They just need some help. Cool. Beautiful.
So if they're flat broke, how are you ending that conversation?
Yeah, usually we would kind of dive into, usually we get resourceful. We'll ask if they're like, I don't have any money. We would ask a resourceful question like, hey, totally get that. Like, we do offer guarantees in our program. We offer lots of financing options. So we'll let them know that. And then we'd say something to the capacity of like, I totally get finances might be a struggle right now, but here's our guarantees. Here's our financing options, X, Y, Z. If we feel like you got on a call and this was exactly what you were looking for, 100% mutual alignment, would you be open to getting creative or resourceful? Or are we in a position where we couldn't spend a dime?
Okay.
And if they're like, I have nothing, then typically what we would do is give them free resources, get them into the community chat, nurture them, and try to keep that relationship for the future.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Got it.
All right. Now, end of day. I know you saw that. You've seen the EOD, but we'll go through end of day procedure. So essentially what we want to do, and you can I usually just copy and paste our EODs in my notes and then fill them out. And then just at the end of the day, you could just paste it, to the chat. So you don't have to type this whole thing out every single time. So I would copy paste the template in like a notes tab and then just fill it out, paste it into your chat. So what we're going to do, you have a video here if you want to kind of watch the video on how to do it, but we'll explain it here as well. You will send an EOD every day that you work. So do not feel like you have to send an EOD if you don't have a shift, right? If you have Saturday off, you have Friday off, you have Monday off, don't send an EOD on those days. You're totally good. But every shift that you work, we do want to send a little EOD in. So usually as soon as your last shift is done, send that EOD. So if you're done at 3, send it around 3. If you're done at 8, send it at 8. It doesn't matter when you send it, we can go back and look for it. What you're going to include is the number of hours you worked. So I worked an 8-hour shift. Great. Number of calls you booked. Call booking per hour. So what you're going to do is divide the number of calls you booked by the number of hours you worked. And that's going to give you your call booking per hour. Number of reach outs. So you'll be able to go back to the social media board to the ones you've done. And you can say, I had 67 follow-ups and 28 new messages. So number of reach outs you were able to accomplish on that shift. How many people you pitched. So you got to the point where you said, let's do this. Let's get you on a call. So every time you send that pitch, how many pitches do we have out? Number of closes. This one's going to be a little bit, you'll have to kind of powwow with the booking tracker for this, or just notice as we shout out our closes, who the DMer was, but how many closes did you get for the day? And then we do a qualitative report. And this is important for us because we want to make sure that you're good. We want to make sure that you feel good. You're getting your water, you're taking care of yourself, you're sleeping. So we want to make sure that our staff not only is performing from a quantitative perspective, but also you feel like you're in a good spot mentally. So yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is what these will be. Scale of 1 to 10, how is your sleep, exercise, nutrition, and stress today? And you can label them individually or as an overall score. I like to do individual because normally my sleep and my nutrition is on point and my water is a 0. Sarah, thank you for reminding me too. I saw that this morning, like 25 ounces, and I was like, I've had one. That's great. What's the clarity on your vision and purpose? Do you still feel like you are growing? Do you still feel like you have conviction in your role? Do you have a strong necessity to keep working, making more money and helping people? How inspired are you currently about life? What tenet did you embody today? So what most aligns to what you were able to do? How well did you add your own personal flair and personality to your script? And then did you update the social media board? And overall, what was the pulse of your shift? So typically that's things were slow when I got started, but we had good conversation as my shift went. Got 4 pitches out, lead quality looks good. Just something brief that explains just the overall vibe of how your shift went with your conversations. Doesn't have to be any like essays or anything. You're just couple sentences. Cool. Questions on that one?
No.
Beautiful. So you could just copy that, put it in your notes, and then you'll just paste that at the end of each of your shifts.
Okay.
Perfect. There's an example here if you want to open that up. So just kind of like show you how it all looks. Quantitative report here, little brief, blip blop of the qualitative stuff. So easy peasy, doesn't have to be anything too long. We just want to get an idea for what happens. Sweet. Projections. Little video on projections. Have you seen this projection sheet yet? Have you been invited to this?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I'll make sure we do that. Cool. So everyone has this projection sheet, and essentially you're going to plug your data from your EOD into your projection sheet. It looks bonkers, but I promise you it's not that hard to navigate. So Sarah, I would love if you want to explain how it works. I'll kind of be your point guide here.
For sure. So at the top, you would just put in your hours worked, and that's however many hours you worked that day. So if you had put in the scheduler that you were going to work 5 hours, but you stayed out an extra half an hour, you add it here. And then you divide the call booking per hour. So you put in, if you had booked any calls for that day, you add it to whatever was there. So if it's Wednesday and you already had 4 calls in there and you booked 2, you would make that 6.
So let's do an example just as we go. So let's say it's Monday and Sarah works 5 hours. So she's going to put 5 in here. And then she books 1 call. You do 1 divided by 5, and that's going to make your call booking per hour 0.2. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
Calls booked.
And then you do calls projected, and there's a little blurb over here on how to do the calls projected because it depends on the day of the week. So you would do, I don't know what, today's Monday. So you would take those 2 calls, divide them by 7, or multiply it by 7 because we started the week. You'd multiply it by 7, and that would be your projected for the week. So that's like what your goal is.
Okay.
And then your calls closed, same thing. If you had 1 call closed, then your call booking per hour would then go, you had 1 call booked, 1 call closed.
To be a
yeah. And then that would be your call projected, again, times 7. And then it'll show your projected commission and then your average commission. And that all tallies up over here on the left So that way you can see what your average call booking per hour is. We want to keep it up during the week, but sometimes you'll have slow weeks. So this over here is the, like, your key factor. Like, do you need to pick up a couple extra hours? Do you need to make sure you do more follow-ups? These will be your indicators for that.
So it's just kind of piggyback off of this. Let's say today's Monday and you worked 5 hours, you booked one call and you had a close. Then let's say today is Tuesday and you worked 5 more hours. So this is going to go to 10. So you're just going to add to that. Then let's say you booked 3 calls. So now this number is going to go to 4, right? And then you would change this 4 divided by 10. So now your call booking per hour is 0.4. So you'll just kind of add to this each day. But what's going to change is this number here. So we would do 4 calls booked divided by 2, because now it's Tuesday. So it's the second day of the week, times by 7. So now your projected number is going to go to 14. Does that make sense? So if it's Wednesday, you're going to take your calls booked divided by 3 times by 7, because there's 7 days in the week. So this will automatically change this number right here. So you don't really have to do too much there. But let's say you close the second call. So that's going to change to 0.5. So now your call booking to call close is 0.5, call booking per hour 0.4. And then the same thing would happen. So you've got 2 calls closed divided by 2 is 1 times 7, 7 days. And then that would just kind of keep track of your, projected commission for the week.
Okay.
Do you want to show her the SOP?
Huh?
Do you want to show her the actual SOP?
Yeah.
That we have. I created an SOP that you have to reference everything that they're saying. That way, when you do it, it's actually like a step-by-step, like each box I have broken down with examples too. So like if you scroll, see like each box that you would update, I have everything that they're like verbally communicating right now, like in writing.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's part of the end of day reporting. So like in the same thing that we're talking about, like doing your quantitative, qualitative, when you scroll, that'll just be part of your end of day, just updating your projection sheet. So that'll all be right here.
Okay.
It'll be pretty. Yeah, go ahead.
How do we know like when we have a call booked?
So you'll book the call yourself. And if you don't, like if someone books the call for you.
I mean, not booked call, closed call.
Yes. So the closed calls, the closers obviously take those calls that you guys book and we try to close them. So there's going to be two places you can kind of check on that. One would be the WhatsApp chat. Yep. So in the full sales team chat, we like to shout it out. Like yesterday, Drew closed and I think it was Christy's booking. So he would say, he'd ring the bell for the person that closed and you'll know the name, right? You'll recognize the name of the people you've booked. So you'll know that it can get added. You'll also be able to see it on the actual booking tracker. So you'll have access here. I'm already there. Why am I looking at it like this? What's happening to my brain? So you'll have access to the actual booking tracker because this is where you'll put in all of your bookings, but there's a whole section on closed leads. So you'll be able to see like who the DMer was, who closed the call, and you'll see the close details as you scroll. So it'll say the day that they closed, how much they paid, what the commission is, when the commission is going to get paid out. So you'll see all of that right on this tracking sheet.
Okay, perfect.
So I would say just at the end of the day, just kind of check the closes and see if you've gotten any of your own bookings to close.
Okay.
Cool. But we try to keep on top of that in the full sales team chat too, and like hype each other up, shout each other out. Not saying it happens every time, but we, the closers are meant to, let you know.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah. And you'll have all of these docs. I'll send this to you after our training is done, and you'll have all this in your email too from today.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Beautiful. Awesome. So projection sheet, we'll kind of go step by step on how to do your projections. We kind of explained it there, but you can definitely go through and look at this one step at a time.
Okay.
And it'll show you how to multiply everything. Now, the first couple times you do this, Sarah and I both are more than happy to work with you on the projections. So when you get ready to do your projections or your first shift, we'll work on it with you. We can pop on a call, do it together, or just go voice memo back and forth on how to log everything. But we'll walk you through your first couple times. Again, we're not going to leave you floating in space, hoping for the best.
We're here for you anytime. Anytime you have questions, we like questions. So just ask.
Okay.
Communication. And if you're confused on anything, we could train it 100 times if we need to. We got you covered. So we'll walk you through the first couple of days that you're on shifts and make sure you've got step-by-step someone there, with you. So
awesome.
Beautiful. Essentially, though, it's just going to be updating the individual row for projections. You won't have to do anything to this gray column on the left. This is just going to encompass the whole month. So all of these columns from week over week for March are going to auto-populate here. So you won't have to touch this one. This one's just it's gonna update for how you're looking for the whole month. You'll just do the week that you're in.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. That'll get easier, I promise. And we'll help you. Beautiful. Questions on that so far?
No.
Cool. We have an example here for the end of day, so you can kind of see overall projections and EOD. And then we'll dive into handling objections. So I just want to do a quick recap so far. As you come in, what we're going to do, you'll have your social media tracker. When you start your shift, jump into the social media tracker. You're going to check what has happened as far as follow-ups and new activity. And that way you know what you can do on your shift.
Okay.
Then we'll go into end of day procedure, which is what we just covered. You'll send over your quantitative and qualitative data, copy and paste to the DM or chat at the end of your shift. And then we'll work on projections. So 3 big things. And then, we've obviously covered ideal client. Alrighty. How to handle objections in the DMs. This will be a great resource for you too. And you'll kind of get comfortable with this on your first shift. And then we will obviously be making this a little bit easier. But as you walk through, we've got them kind of broken up by objection. So when you see somebody who has a financial objection, it's affordability. You can absolutely use these to help kind of combat that. So typically, somebody says, I don't know if I can afford this. I'm worried. I just don't think I can, invest in anything else right now. No worries at all. I completely understand that. We do offer packages and payment plans for everyone. We customize all payment plans per person and don't use, blank plans. Your enrollment specialist is so-and-so. They're super awesome and they'll absolutely be able to chat with you and help you overcome, come up with a plan that's fair to you and fair for the business. Or if you need to dig deeper, you can ask that here. Now, I'm not going to go through all of this. This is just going to be a resource for you as you start going through the DMs and seeing objections. We can navigate this. I think if we just go over how to handle objections right now, it's just going to feel a little daunting. So I want you to just be able to have this doc in your back pocket. And as you start getting into the DMs, we'll start training on this doc as we use it, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
But we do have a whole how to handle objections in the DM section for financing, fear, if they feel like it's too pressury. There's a time commitment issue, certifications, and then we'll kind of update this, but there's a couple of things in here we don't offer anymore. But common objections that you're going to see. I'm not certified. I want to get my certification first. I don't think I can commit right now. It's too expensive. I'm paying for, X, Y, and Z certification. My husband's not supportive of me. Anything that you're going to see, we try to have resources on how to handle those objections.
Okay.
So you'll be able to utilize this doc. It's a hefty one, but it'll give you a lot of different ideas of ways to approach different people.
Okay.
Cool. Perfect. Alrighty. And then social media messaging checklist. This is a good one too. So this will essentially be kind of the structure of when you get into your accounts, what we want to do on each shift. So let's say you're working one of the Facebooks. You'll be able to go in, check the social media tracker to see where we're at with volume. So this is a good, plane of reference. Follow-ups, make sure you've gone back and done as many follow-ups as you can on the platform that you're working on. Friend requests are kind of hit or miss. Typically, we don't do a lot of friend requests anymore. So we probably won't utilize this one as much as we used to, just because we'd rather use that activity for follow-ups and new messages than adding and removing people.
Okay.
Checking all the messages. So making sure we check the likes, we're checking comments, we're checking new Facebook group requests, we're just seeing new activity, and we're starting conversations with the newest activity first. So if we notice that we have a free resource going in the Facebook group and 10 new people commented and we haven't messaged them, those will probably be the first 10 people that we reach out to. It's just making sure that we are updating the likes, comments, requests, things like that, or messaging them to get that conversation going.
Okay.
Engaging in groups to create convo. This doesn't mean you have to do every single thing on this list, but this is kind of like the hierarchy of needs. If things are slower, there's other ways we can try to build some momentum.
Okay.
Goal would be to carry out all your conversations, book calls, and then update the tracker before you clock out. So before the end of your shift, just updating the tracker with what you're able to do. And then here are additional resources for Facebook if you want more ideas of what to do to build some momentum. All right, so same thing with ads. Ads are pretty straightforward, but you're going to follow up with all the messages from the day before who are not responding or who didn't get a response, and then make sure we are carrying out conversations and booking calls as they come in. Ads are pretty straightforward, but you're going to get likes, comments, click requests, things like that. So it's pretty much follow-ups, new messages from new engagement. Again, this will be easier as you get into the accounts, 100%. Instagram, again, we're going to check the social media tracker, make sure we know where we're at. We've done follow-ups on all of the platforms. And then we're messaging anybody who has liked, commented, viewed stories, new followers, etc. Throughout the day. So as new engagement comes in, let's double check. Have we messaged them before? Are they a clients? Are they new? Send them a message, start a conversation.
Okay.
Carry out those conversations, book the calls, and then update the tracker before you're done.
Awesome.
Cool. This is a good step-by-step. So I just have this, pulled up on your shift. So that way you've got it. Same thing with TikTok. So checking the tracker, where are we at? Making sure we are sending out requests, following up from the day before, and then again, liking new or sending messages to new likes, comments, followers, carry the conversation, update the tracker. It's pretty wash, rinse, repeat once you get into it. So you've got like a checklist to refer back to when you're on shift. So if you're in the Instagram account, you know exactly what you want to do, exactly what needs to be done. Do it, update the tracker, wash, rinse, repeat.
Okay.
Cool. Do we have questions here?
No.
Cool. Do we feel good so far?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it. And then free resources. Now, if we can send out free resources at any point in the conversation, so if you notice that someone is struggling with time management, money, objections, lead generation, anything at all, and we want to send them a resource just to create a little bit of value, you have a chart of lots of resources. And this is on my to-do list to clean up, so that'll be good as well. But let's say you wanted to, I don't know, someone is like, I really struggle with sales. I'm not very good at sales. Cool. Let's send them the objection handling 101 guide. Free resource. Send it over. You have a lot of them. If someone's like, I just don't really know where to start. I don't know how much to charge. We've got a mini course on pricing. I don't know how to scale. I need to start hiring. Mini course on scaling. I don't know how to find clients, lead generation. I don't know how to startup. So we have mini courses that are just little blips of our course curriculum that will help people with different objections or challenges that they have. Feel free to send those anytime. Just like, oh, sweet. I completely resonate with that. Most of our clients struggle with lead generation. Here's a mini course to help get your business going. It just creates a little bit of trust, a little bit of rapport, and can get people more bought into what we do.
Okay.
So feel free to send these at any time in the script if you feel like they're necessary. At the end, afterwards, after someone's booked, we'll also send a couple of resources their way too, but those are already built into the script. So you can just kind of copy and paste those ones over.
Okay.
But we have lots of them. Tons. So I'll be working on cleaning these up too, but we have a lot of options. So
Awesome.
I would maybe go through and just kind of see what you like, see the most common ones, and Sarah can help with that. But we have a few that I think are pretty big staples that we send out a lot.
Okay.
Perfect. So free resources can be sent at any time during the script, but they're there. You also can send podcasts. So we have a list of we have Chad's podcast here and then podcast resources here, which just have like the links to, quick ones. So if someone, let's say, I don't know, is anxious about charging because they don't want to charge $300 a month. I only charge $50. I don't think anyone would ever pay that much. Send them the podcast on ways to improve your money mindset because they have fear around increasing their pricing. Someone who's really super nervous about starting a business but wants to, self-doubt, send them this podcast. There are a million different resources we have that you could send out to people just to, again, build some value and build some trust.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Cool. Where are we at? There we go. And then the staff onboarding board, that'll be me. I'll do that. I'm going to update this. And then course review. So course review is essentially going to be you learning the actual course curriculum. We want all of our staff to kind of work through, listen to the material that we teach. The more you know about the product, the easier it's going to be for you to educate potential clients in the DMs.
Okay.
So we'll get you access. I'll make sure you have access to both of these, right? I think Sabrina got you. Okay, beautiful. Yep. So if you want to start working on that, it's going to look just like this. You can start with certified coach, and then I would just start from the top and go through each module. Ideally, we want to try to get through, I'll send you the pacing. but we'll chip away at this. I want you to understand the product. So in your downtime, if you want to listen to modules while you're working, if you want to listen to modules and just kind of absorb the information, that'll help you just service the prospective clients better.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Okay. So, oh, the wrong one here. Cool. That is week 1. So that took a little bit longer than I thought. What I want to do, Paige, I'm open to your feedback here, but I don't think we'll get through all 4 in 2 days. Now that I'm seeing.
Yeah, anything we can't get to, we'll just schedule an additional training.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
What is happening to this dog?
I would rather get what we can without rushing
Yes.
than try to cram all of it in and it feel like super scattered and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. So what we'll do tomorrow is we're going to focus on training number 2, and then
Okay.
we'll schedule more. I think in my head, I was like, let's get through them all because I'm going on vacation on Wednesday. So I was like 2 and 2, we got this. But what I'll do, I don't know what's happening, but that's obviously not loading. Cool. I'm going to send you an email. It's going to have
Okay.
the recording from today and then highlighting everything that we looked at today. What I would say for homework is going to be just reviewing end of day, reviewing the projection sheet, making sure you play around with that. We'll make sure you have your own tab in that projection sheet too, and I'll share that with you so that way you have access. But just getting comfortable with end of day and then that's reviewing the social media tracker. I think those are going to be the big 3 things.
Okay.
And the other docs will be kind of an assist as you go. The
Okay.
ideal client doc will be something you review pretty frequently. Objection handling, you'll probably look at that every time you're on shift. So those docs you'll get more comfortable with as you start in your position.
Okay. Awesome.
So really 3 highlights. And then we'll do training number 2 tomorrow. We'll probably book training number 3 and 4. That's going to be up to you guys because I will be gone Wednesday, but we could do that maybe towards the end of the week. But what questions do you have for us?
I don't believe I have any right now, but I probably will after I get off
Yeah.
of this Zoom meeting.
And I fully expect this to be like, my brain is mashed potatoes type of scenario, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
going to feel like a lot until you get in and do it every day. It sounds like more than what it actually is. You start a
Okay.
shift, check the board, work through your account, send an update, EOD projections is essentially the big meat and potatoes. And then there's a lot of resources you might need as you're going through your shift, right?
Okay.
Sarah, anything you want to add to that? Other Sarah?
No, always reach out for questions. Everybody is very, hey, I've got this, you want to word something differently. They'll throw out options. I don't know if you've
Okay.
seen in the DM, we're very accepting because none of us are perfect and we all have mom brains. So
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So I would say just review the end of day stuff, review the social media tracking board, and then start on your coursework. Just start getting into
Okay.
the certified coach and start listening to some of those modules. And I'll send over a recap with this video and what we worked on today, and we'll go from there.
Awesome.
Paige, anything you want to add? How's it going on your end? I know you had to do some stuff for Chad.
I think we're in. He keeps getting locked out, but we are hopefully there.
Okay, good.
But yeah, just like Sarah said, just any questions, feel free to reach out. We are all, happy and available to help.
100%.
Okay. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, let's have a good rest of our day. Let's book some calls and close some deals and change some lives. Get
Love
shit.
you. Go.
Awesome. All right. I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.